How's it going? Well, first thing I have to do is check the status of this weapon. Make sure it's not loaded. No, I didn't put my regular Glock 19 in. This is actually a training gun. It's a Rings Blue gun. So I just threw that in the holster. Usually when I'm at the range, it's a Glock 19. So, anyways, first really good day back at the office, I must say. It's been good. It's been good. I finally finished my first knife that I'd done in a long time. So, anyway, it started actually as a full tang. It's made out of O1 tool steel. It actually started as this full tang primitive theme knife, and I had some primitive style carvings on it and everything like that. And I had actually left the oxide on it, and I'd heat treated it down to where it was like that copperish brown oxide with a little bit of purple added through it, you know. And so I went ahead and got rid of the rivets, pried the handles off, and gave it a regrind. Slimmed this tang down. Went ahead and got a couple slabs of micarta I had, routed those out, and put a micarta handle on it. It's a black canvas micarta, and so it's been pretty good. And I put a guard on it. I JB welded a guard onto it, and actually added another guard on top of this. And this here is a little bit of a dip right here. I just decided I'm going to move on to the next one. This is just a good starter to start out on. But it's been good. It's been great. It was turned out really good. I'm happy with the way it turned out, I have to say. A little bit of a swedge on top there. Total regrind, also reheat treated. Re-annealed the steel, put it back into the forge, quenched it, and did a back temper on it. So it's actually, you know, it's a born again. It's born again. And I kind of do like the way that top swedge kind of looks with that guard. See the guard there? A little bit of a ripple in the guard, but I decided I'm just going to leave it. So the guard isn't soldered, it's JB welded on. And these are two pieces of brass. It's a piece of brass here that I routed out, and a piece of brass here that I stacked on top of that to give it like a little bit of a bolster, I guess you could say. And I got it pretty sharp. I sharpened it on the belt sander. Let's see here. Yeah, pretty good. I used the Micron belt to sharpen this. So, funny how, I mean, I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say that while I can make a knife, I can never sharpen a knife very good. But I started watching some more sharpening videos. Let's see if I can get a good cut started on this thing. That's going all right. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Okay, yeah, so far. So it's been good. Anyway, put cutler rivets for the handles, added a lanyard, put the lanyard's just, this is all micarta up here, the tang starts about right here. Added a 1/4 inch stainless steel tubing for it. Made a Kydex sheath, and I used a detachable loop on that Kydex sheath. I'll go ahead and take it off back here. There's a couple detach clips here that I push in. So there's the sheath that I made. I made I went ahead and did the rivets for the sheath. And for a while I actually had this thing really thermoformed on here pretty good. Then I went ahead and refired it again to see if I can get this thing here to lock down a little harder. And I did get it to lock down a lot harder, but I kind of lost that really clean factory thermoform look that it has. But I went ahead and put the loop onto a, I guess you could say a platform. I made a platform for it. And then Chicago screwed the loop onto the platform, and then Chicago screwed the platform onto the sheath. So actually, by adding that extra pressure, it seems to lock in there pretty good. So that locks in like that. See, doesn't rattle. It was actually rattling a little bit earlier, but the rattle's kind of gone. I mean, I haven't gone out in the front yard and flicked it with all of my might to see if it comes flying out of the sheath. But all in all, you can pull it pretty quick. You can return to the sheath and lock it down pretty good. For a while I wasn't returning it to a sheath, so I went and just kind of reground all that away. Just got all that off of there. So I put my name on the back. I got a stamp. I'm still using the Harbor Freight stamp. I tried using the new stamp. It just didn't push enough metal out. I couldn't get my name on it. But all in all, it's been pretty good. It looks like it sits pretty high on the belt, on the battle belt, but all in all, I'm not going to complain about that. It's actually been pretty, it's so far just wearing it around here today, it's been pretty good. It doesn't seem like it's going to fall out or anything, but yeah, it's you know, it's actually a pretty good looking knife, I might say. Swedge turned out pretty good on top. I don't know if you can see the symmetry on that. Looks pretty symmetrical. Yeah, symmetry on a knife like this. I mean, I'll be honest. It's there's ways around it. I mean, I have a variable speed knife on that, and it's variable speed's a must, especially when I drop down into the finer grits and I begin to you know, start setting the symmetry, where I kind of give little pushes and passes here, and it's, you know, and then when the micron belts go on, I can feel the little seam just kind of going tick, 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 tick. Well, that seam's removing stuff. So I'll let a little bit of pressure off to where I'm basically just basically letting the seam do all the work, because that seam is a raised portion of the belt that's higher than the rest of the belt. So the final passes, I'll just let the seam come across it and kind of tag that surface, you know, on the finishing passes. But I got that knife and I thought to myself, in the past I've usually started off with regrinding an old blade of mine, and with this I was really surprised. It was done on my one horse Craftsman belt sander, and I was kind of really glad that I was able to get that and turn that into this. So, I mean, why didn't I use a newer blade? I don't know. I've taken old knives and reground them and reheat treated them in the past. When I start beginning new knife, when I begin making new knives, and it's kind of, to me, maybe it's symbolic in my mind of a new beginning. Maybe I'm just kind of like, well, taking an old knife that's like the old knife maker version of me and making it into a new knife, which is, I don't know, maybe it's just like how I reinvent myself. I don't know why I did it that way. I could have just gone ahead and started with fresh materials, but darn, it turned out pretty good. You know, the amount I'm looking at it on film, when I'm actually handling this thing in person, it's you know, it's cool, but when I actually look at this thing on film, it looks pretty slick. And I was trying to get a more slimmer on the coffin handle. It's called a coffin handle because it's shaped like a coffin handle. So it's actually like a baby Bowie. You know, but the handle's pretty big for a knife this size. But it's pretty cool. It's been pretty cool. So locks in there just like so. I'll lift this up and put it back on the battle belt. So there's a little bit of working around on this battle belt. Just kind of put the web gear on first. Gotta kind of put it over the top of this. There's a series of little stoppers that come with these loops. So I can also, like if I'm wearing a church belt, you know, or a dress belt, I can actually thin that out. You don't hear, I don't really hear, sometimes I can hear a click, but yeah, I hear a click now. Okay, good, audible click. But Yeah, it's pretty cool. It is hard to put it back in, I'll have to admit. So this is probably going to be one of those like last ditch type deals. You know, in the old West, some pistoliers would carry a Bowie, and sometimes that's actually, they say that harkens back to the old cap and ball days when a guy's out, it's hard to reload, so he switched to knife. You know, the old gunfighting days, and we're starting to see sometimes we're starting to see on modern battle belts knives, fixed blade knives, making it onto modern battle belts, and sometimes, of course, the chest mounted knives that make it on the Male vest too. But a lot of that kind of did come from the gunfighter days, where when the pistol's out, they switch to a blade. Yeah, and that's when it gets close. So, but anyway, yeah, not bad at all. It's been good. It's been a good first day back at work. I mean, it's not first day. It's taken a few days to make that. Hey, look at the way that kind of clicks in, snaps in like that. So I fired it a couple of times, put it in the Kydex press. It's been pretty good. And I'm gonna put that in my battle belt ensemble. See, I've been basting WD-40 all over it, so just trying to keep. It's 01. 01 doesn't. I don't. It's. When I used to make knives, I used 01 because 01 is a. It does hold a pretty good edge, but it just doesn't it's not very good for just handling and leaving outside. Or, I mean, people were constantly asking me to not constantly, but quite a few people asked me to refinish knives, and a couple of people I just didn't refinish knives. I just, it's a $45 knife. What do you want me to do? The market wanted edge holding capability, and so I was using edge holding. I was getting it for edge holding capability, but now recently I'm going to go back to stainless steel. And knives that I've made from stainless steel have held very good edges. But yeah, it's pretty good. I didn't do a half bad sharpening job on that too. It's actually pretty good for the sharpening job. You'd be surprised how many knife makers can make knives but can't sharpen for damn. And sometimes sharpeners, when they take them into sharpeners, and I'm guilty of this too, but a lot of knife makers don't, they have a hard time closing their edges up when they're doing the final set on the symmetry and they're getting the knife all done. It's intimidating to have all this finish work done and everything done on the blade, and then all of a sudden go close the blade and create a dip here, or it's a little bit off somewhere, or you grind off too much trying to close this thing and make it make the sharpening, the sharpened edge more consistent. And it's intimidating. So some of them take them to sharpeners. But the sharpeners sometimes, if they maybe have a Burr King or a Bader or whatever else, they're on there closing that edge up. They're doing sometimes they're doing a whole regrind on the knife, because they may close that edge up, but then they might have to regrind the blade to close that final edge up to get that thing closer together so they can sharpen it. And the edge is too fat. So that happens. It happens. And I want to get away from that. I've seen some videos on here of a guy that runs a mobile sharpening service. It's real fascinating to watch him work. He does a lot of work on little 1-inch belt sanders. It's pretty cool to see him go to town on those things. It is neat. Now I'm thinking about starting to watch more of him and getting into sharpening. But yeah, this has been a great first day back at the office, and it's kind of, I wanted to kind of wait until this was done, until I began to come into the shop more. A lot of my videos have just been kind of me. It's just starting to become a societal commentary channel, and it's nice that I finally got out and made an actual knife. All right, so thing goes right in there pretty good, wouldn't you say? Walks right in there. All right, so maybe I'll get to the range and I'll do a range video and I'll, get some of me shooting with the battle belt and how the knife looks on there and type it on the side and show that how it hangs up on the top. On the top here, it kind of comes up real high on my waist, but it doesn't feel top heavy. Doesn't feel like it wants to fall out or anything like that. It actually feels pretty natural. Holster's really good. Loop's really good. Doesn't move around on the sheath. So hey, done deal. And don't worry about the haters. Just let the haters worry about you. See you on the next one.